So here are my thoughts on the first paragraphs of Spe Salvi by Pope Benedict. And he tells us in the introduction that he's going to spend this entire encyclical answering the question, what sort of hope could ever justify the statement that on the basis of that hope, and simply because it exists, we are redeemed? So in the second paragraph, he starts setting out on his first part of the mission, which is to explain to us the difference between faith and hope and how they're related. And the second paragraph, he contrasts this hope that the Christians have with the pagan world at the time. So Aristotle, back between 384 and 322 BC, had already put out his unmoved mover or first cause argument, and he was not the only Greek philosopher to argue that these multiple gods made no sense and were obsolete. And I'm quite certain that certainly the well-educated people of Rome and the Roman world at the time knew that there was no point worshiping their multiple gods, that it was just a bunch of state pomp to give people something to do and some way to unify everyone. And that what that really meant in their lives was that they were without hope. A dark world facing a dark future without hope and without God. And he contrasts that with the Christians who instead possess this great hope and know that they have a future. The Christians know that their life will not end in emptiness. And Pope Benedict says that this knowledge is performative. Instead of just something that we know about, simply knowing it changes us. It gives us hope and it enables us to live our lives differently. The third paragraph, he tells us about St. Josephine Bakhita and tells us the definition of this great hope. This hope that St. Josephine found and that we find too as Christians in our own lives. The great hope that I am definitively loved, and whatever happens to me, I am awaited by this love, and so my life is good. And how this hope changes the situation for St. Josephine Bakhita and for all of us. Now she is no longer a slave. Because she has this hope, she is a free child of God. And that changes her entire life and everything that she wants to do and become. Again, it's performative. Simply knowing it has changed the way she wants to live. And then if we look at the fourth paragraph, he continues talking about how this hope transforms slavery, how Philemon receives Onesimus, his slave, back again, but that this structure that they had before of master and slave no longer exists because of this hope that Christianity has given us. It has changed the relationship from the inside. Even if on the outside nothing has changed, they have become brothers, and they realize that their whole job now is to see and serve Christ in each other, and that transforms the way they respond to the world and the way they see themselves in their lives. So my thoughts on this are that this hope that we have makes us free in any circumstance. We are always able to choose to love and to trust that God is drawing us to himself in love and that he cares about us and is working to bring about our union with him. A cool book that I think demonstrates this, that this great hope makes us free on the inside, is this one, The Shadow of His Wings. It's by Father Jerian Goldman. He wrote it himself. It's his story of his life as a seminarian who is recruited into the German army, and how he chooses to live his faith and follow his faith even under pressure from the Nazis and his superiors at the time. and how his faith makes him free to do that. The hope that he has in Christ gives him the ability to follow God in very difficult circumstances, and you can see in his life how, relying on that hope and trusting in that hope, how God was there and he was working in his life, and we can trust that God is working in our lives too. And that's part of what I enjoy so much about this much of Spe Salvi. So I'll be back in another video to talk about paragraphs 5 through 9 here in just a sec.